जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम, वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल। अब हम लेक्चर 33 कर रहे हैं SOC 101 का, फंक्शंस ऑफ स्कूलिंग। तो इसमें जो है स्कूलिंग की बात होगी कि स्कूल्स में कौन कौन से फंक्शंस होते हैं, क्या क्या वहाँ पर किया जाता है, और वहाँ पर जो है वो रूल रेजुलेशंस, हर एक चीज़ जो है स्कूलिंग के हवाले से ही होगी। तो स्टार्ट करते हैं। जी, तो यहाँ पर है हमारे पास एजुकेशन इज़ अ सोशल इंस्टीट्यूशन दैट इज़ गाइडिंग द सोसाइटीज़ ट्रांसमिशन ऑफ नॉलेज including basic facts, job skills, and also cultural norms and values to its members. In industrial societies, education is largely a matter of schooling. Formal instruction under the direction of specially trained teachers. Specialization. Technologically simple societies transmit their ways of life informally from parents of children. Cultural innovation. Education creates as well as transmits culture. Schools stimulate intellectual inquiry and critical uh, thinking, sparking the development of new ideas. Social change. Not only the schools generate new knowledge, they are also the means for bringing social change. Social integration. Schooling helps for a mass of people into a unified society. Social placement. Schools help in identifying and developing each student's aptitudes and abilities, and then evaluating a student's performance in terms of achievement rather than social background. Perpetuating inequality. Schools provide learning according students' background, thereby perpetuating intellect inequality. Perpetuating inequality. Next, school tracking. Schools help the assignment of school students to different types of educational programs. Qualification certification. Schools not only transmit the knowledge and skills to the youth, they are also the agencies that certify the level of education achieved. Other latent functions. Schools perform many latent functions Schools have become vital for relieving single and dual earner parents of some child care responsibilities. जी ये जो है हमारे पास सोशलाइजेशन से लेके ये सारे के सारे हमारे पास जो हैं ये फंक्शंस ऑफ स्कूल्स हैं, ठीक है। तो नेक्स्ट है हमारे पास परपेचुएटिंग इनइक्वालिटी, नहीं ये तो आई थिंक हो चुका है। नेक्स्ट है हमारे पास लेक्चर 34, issues in education. Pakistan has yet to cover a long way on the road to 100% literacy of its population. From around 40% literacy in 1998, it has moved to an estimated 54% in 2004. There are gaps between the literacy levels of males and females, as well as between rural and urban populations. The government of Pakistan is pursuing the policy of education for all. तो ये हमारे पास जो है एब्रीवेशन है एजुकेशन फॉर ऑल, EFA, and expect that by 2015 all children will complete primary education. Another claim is to eliminate gender disparity in education by 2005. These may be tall claims, but not something which is unachievable. Despite the government efforts to increase the number of primary schools, the number of teachers and the school environment, the absolute number of non-literates is swelling. It has increased from 22 million in 1961 to 69 million in 2004. The private sector, public-private partnerships and the non-governmental organizations are making their efforts to combat illiteracy, but the achievements are clouded by a variety of factors like the increasing population, the availability of resources, and the politics of education. तो यहाँ पर कुछ इश्यूज़ हैं जो कि स्कूलिंग के होते हैं। लो इनरोलमेंट, हाई ड्रॉप आउट, जेंडर डिस्पैरिटी, inequalities in education, low budgetary allocations or standard of pedagogy, poor school environment, quality of textbooks, quality of curricula, examination system. तो यहाँ पर इनका थोड़ा सा डिटेल कर लेते हैं. It is estimated that out of the total school-going age children, around 50% are not in school. There could be number of reasons for children not being in school. Poverty may be one of the most important reasons. High dropout of the children entering the school at grade 1. 50% of them drop out prior to their completion of primary stage of schooling. Gender disparity. Gender disparity in the estimated literacy rates shows that of males, 66% were literate, whereas of females, 42% were literate in 2004. Inequalities in education. Inequalities can be looked at from different angles. Gender inequalities, rural urban inequalities, public private school inequalities, and inequality due to the medium of instruction. Low budgetary allocations. Education institutions are often under resourced, which may be reflective to the priority being given to education, thereby low financial allocations. Standard of pedagogy. Quality of teaching depends upon the quality of teachers in Pakistani schools at the function level. The teachers have been having a very low qualification and in turn are also low paid. Poor school environment. A substantial number of schools have been found to be poorly organized and devoid of facilities. Facilities may refer to the availability of the teachers as well as the infrastructure facilities reflecting the level of school enrichment. At places schools are without an appropriate building. A government surveys revelation that 14,000 schools in Sindh do not have any building. 80% had no electricity, 60% had no boundary wall or drinking water facility, and 57% had no toilets. Reported in the Dawn editorial, May 21, 2005, and necessary classroom equipment. Quality of textbook. Provision of education is one thing, and what are the contents of education being provided in another is another. Quality of curricula uh, is in order to meet the changing demands of time. The curricula has to be continuously updated. Examination system. The examination system is fast losing is it credibility. नेक्स्ट है हमारे पास लेक्चर 35 पॉपुलेशन स्टडी एंड इट्स सिग्निफिकेंस। तो यहाँ पर अब बात होगी पॉपुलेशन के बारे में, ठीक है। और उसके जो है जो भी हर एक चीज़ जो है वो पॉपुलेशन के बारे में होगी इसमें। Demography is the statistical description and analysis of human population. Basic concepts: crude birth rate, the number of live births per year per thousand of the population, total births in a specific year over total population in that year multiplied by 1000. Fertility, number of born children, total number of children aged 0 to 4 in years X, total number of women aged 15 to 49 in X years X. तो यहाँ पर है हमारे पास fertility rate is usually calculated as the average number of births per thousand women of child bearing age 15 to 49 years, total births in year X, total women aged 15 to 49 multiplied by 1000. Crude death rate, the number of deaths per thousand of the population per year, total death in a specific year over total population in that year over multiplied by 1000. Crude death rates are also called as mortality rates. Mortality, the number of deaths in a population. Infant mortality rate, the number of babies per thousand live births in any year who die before reaching the age of 1 year. नेक्स्ट है हमारे पास लाइफ एक्सपेक्टेंसी, the number of years an average person can expect to live. Life expectancy has increased in most societies in the world in the past country. life span, the maximum number of years that an individual could live. Migration, the permanent movement of persons over a significant distance. International migration, migrant crosses the boundary between one country and another. Emigrant, when persons leave their country. Immigrant, then when persons arrive in another country. International migration within a country. Population census, the simultaneous recording of demographic data by government at a particular time, uh, pertaining to all persons who live in a particular territory. It usually takes place after every 10 years. Vital statistics, registration of a person's birth changes in civil status throughout his or her lifetime and his or her death. जी, तो हमारे पास ये सारी की सारी चीज़ें क्या थी हमारे पास, ये जो हैं सारे के सारे ये बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट्स थे जो इसके बारे में थे। उसके बाद जो है यहाँ पर हमारे पास आ जाता है ये चीज़, virtual statistics, registration of a person's birth changes in civil status throughout his or her lifetime and her death. ओ सॉरी, ये तो पढ़ चुकी थी, एक तो मेरी याद बहुत जल्दी भूल जाता है। Significance of populations study, how many people, what kind of people, how are people distributed in the area. जी, ये इसके पॉइंट्स है 3, ठीक है। सिग्निफिकेंस ऑफ पॉपुलेशन स्टडी, ये हाउ मैनी पीपल, इफ इट रेफर्स टू साइज ऑफ द पॉपुलेशन इन आ टेरिटोरी, जस्ट इतना से करना है। उसके बाद है व्हाट काइंड ऑफ पीपल, इट रेफर्स टू द कंपोजिशन ऑफ द पॉपुलेशन, ये भी जस्ट इतना करना है। उसके बाद है हाउ आर पीपल डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड इन द एरिया, तो distribution of population refers to the description of people in a territory, like the rural urban distribution, size of cities, distance densities of population, ये इतना करना है, ठीक है। तो नेक्स्ट है हमारे पास लेक्चर 36। जी, लेक्चर 36 है हमारे पास थ्योरी ऑफ पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ, द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ इंडस्ट्री, इट वाज widely supposed would create a new era of abundance in which standards of living would rise. These ideas were criticized by Thomas Robert Malthusian theory of population. In 1798, Malthus published an essay on the principle of population by analyzing the then prevailing situation in different countries. Malthus initiated a debate about the connection between population and food resources that continues to this day. Food was necessary for the continuation of life, and procreation was also necessary for the continuation of life. In his opinion, the population checks were preventive checks and positive checks. Among the preventive checks, Malthus recommended, तो ये हैं माल्थस के जो हैं ये पॉपुलेशन चेक्स हैं ये दो, ठीक है, ये हैं उसके लिए फिर प्रिवेंटिव चेक्स हैं, इनके आगे जो हैं कुछ पॉइंट्स हैं. टू फॉलो celibacy, to marry late, abstinence from entering into sexual unions resulting in procreation. If human beings don't adopt the preventive checks, positive checks come into preparation in the form of famine, epidemics, war, and other natural calamities, and a lot of population is wiped out. Malthus did not visualize the power of science and technology, with the help of which the food supply could be revolutionized. Malthus did not advocate the use of contraceptives as a means of preventive measure, though these were available during his time. Malthus presented to pessimistic picture of the growth of population. Population of technologically advanced countries did not follow his predictions. Theory of demographic transition. Demographic transition theory links birth rates and death rates to society's level of industrialization. Birth rates decline as a result of later ages of marriage, urbanization, industrialization, rising aspirations, and other factors. This shift occurred throughout Europe, North America, and a number of the other areas in the 19th and 20th centuries. Started in many developing countries in the middle of 20th country. Although the peak and paths of decline varied tremendously among countries, the demographic transition emerged as the dominant model of demographic change. Birth rate minus death rate. Population growth from natural increase, birth rate minus death rate. Many low fertility countries have entered what some describe as second demographic transition, in which fertility falls below the two-child replacement level, and as forces of contemporary life interfere with childbearing. जी, तो ये हमारे हो गए हैं 36 लेक्चर्स। अब 37th लेक्चर हम नेक्स्ट वीडियो में करेंगे। मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो में, तब तक के लिए अल्लाह हाफिज़।